Applied Prevention Science International presents Prevention Portraits, a series of informal interviews with scientists, professionals, and other stakeholders who are contributing to prevention knowledge and practice around the world. We hope to bring you closer to their brilliant careers, experience, and professional paths in the prevention field. On behalf of APSI, thank you for joining us. Enjoy. The views and opinions of our guests are personal and do not represent those of their institutions or Applied Prevention Science International.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our Prevention Portraits this week. We know this is a series of informal interviews with prevention scientists, prevention professionals, and other stakeholders who are contributing to prevention knowledge and practice. I'm Zelie Sloboda. I'm the president of APSI, and I am joined by our director of the APSI Education Center, Maria Luna, and she will be engaged in this discussion. And today, we are really thrilled to have with us Mr. Nick De Mauro. He is the Executive Director of Law Enforcement Against Drugs, or L.E.A.D, and a member of APSI's Board of Directors. I am honored to serve as the chair of the L.E.A.D Scientific Advisory Group. I have known Nick, I was working on that this morning, for over 20 years.
It's got to be longer than that.
I see him. No, well, we could talk about that later. But I see Nick as a leader in community law enforcement, and particularly in connecting law enforcement to prevention so that we can make our communities safe and healthy together. So I turn this over now to Maria.
Thank you, Zelie, and thank you, Nick, very much for joining us today. And hello, everyone who is seeing us and listening to us. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about your career and your work. So how about to get started, don't you just introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us a little bit more of your career, your position, and your focus of work is right now.
Yeah, my name is Nick De Mauro. I'm Executive Director, CEO of L.E.A.D, Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence. We are a 501c3 organization based out of New Jersey. We were formed about 5 years ago because of the need for law enforcement to have evidence-based programming in schools. That has been a priority of them. It's been a priority of my personal prevention mission. And we're very excited. We're now in 32 states. Our goal is to be in 40 by September, and soon thereafter 50. I started my career as a police officer, and that led me in this direction. I feel that law enforcement has to be a comprehensive tool. We just can't be arresting people. We need to be on the street and in the classroom. And I'm very proud of being a part of that movement. I'm also proud of when I developed a relationship with Zelie a few years ago. I think it's closer to 30, but she says 20. We'll compromise at 25. But I felt it was important back then when I met her that police officers, just like when they go into when they're on the street, they deserve to have the best possible resources that they need. A good running police car, equipment to provide the best possible services, communication, the best possible communication. And I believe that when they go into a classroom, they should have the best product. And that has been a passion and a goal of mine. And in starting L.E.A.D, that's why one of the first things I did after I received this position was bring Zelie on as our chairperson of our scientific advisory board. So it's very important that we do this. And I do want to quickly just say that how we developed the mission at L.E.A.D, and I'll go into that in a minute. When I was in high school, my senior year in high school, we lost our opening football game. And after the game, one of our players was hyperventilating and they had to call an ambulance and they took him to the hospital. And that Monday morning, we all got called into the principal's office with the head coach. And little did I know, I was one of the only people on the offensive and defensive line that did not take a upper, a drug. And it was interesting because they knew enough not to ask me, because I guess they knew that my father would kill me if I ever took any drugs. But that situation stuck in my head. And I always felt that if I was ever in a position, I would do something to educate children and youth in how to deal with these challenges. And that's the one piece of thing that has motivated me. And the second piece is trying to get to make sure that we're not just a police officer standing in front of the room. We have to be a police officer giving evidence-based, tested, proven, effective information. Nothing's perfect. We all know that, but we also know that if it's not tested, it's not proven effective, it should not be taught. I look at our 4 missions at L.E.A.D, stopping drug abuse, deterring drug-related crimes, stopping bullying and violence, and 4, which is kind of where we're going to lead this conversation into, is to promote the resources that law enforcement agencies have to help communities in their community grow and be safe and sound. And a police officer in prevention, I think, is very important. I said, but it's also time that they be professionalized and institutionalized and put in a position where it is an accepted practice on police department. And I think it is. I think it's getting there, but we had to go through some ups and downs. And I think we're now taking the lead around the country, no pun intended, but we're excited about doing so. And with groups like APSI, we're gonna do things. We're gonna make a difference, and Silly's gonna have a great legacy.
Absolutely. Of that, Sharon, and I think it's very interesting what you were telling us, Nick, about your own experience and how you translated that into, of course, your career of choice and not what you're doing, maintaining that line of doing prevention and doing it right. I mean, having the right resources to do so and the right mindset on that. Thank you for sharing. Zilly?
Yeah, because of my involvement with L.E.A.D, I'm seeing a sort of shift when I go to meetings and meet with police chiefs. And thank you very much for those opportunities, Nick. I see that at least at the police chief's level, and of course, certainly at the policeman's level, the street policeman's level, this desire to make a big difference in their communities. And I think they're beginning to think differently about law enforcement. Is that a growing trend, you think, in law enforcement, particularly these days, with everything that's going on in the communities with law enforcement and the shootings, et cetera? I know that we're supposed to be rethinking. Yeah, go ahead.
Without getting into the whole defund the police issue, I think
yes,
what L.E.A.D is doing is exactly what law enforcement should be doing. Now, I don't think that, again, I'm not going to stand here and defend 99.9% of the good cops that are out there and the bad cops that are not. Good cops hate bad cops, okay? But I believe that what we're trying to do with L.E.A.D is 100% good. We're, like apple pie and ice cream, okay? We're trying to do something that is going to make a difference in the community and be good. If you looked at my stomach, you'd see why I said ice cream. But all joking aside, we really need to be good. I was talking with an officer down here in Collier County, which is in the street basic big towns in Collier County. Naples, Marco Island are two of the North Naples. There's different communities, but I visited a school, and the lead instructor there told me that they were an instructor in New Jersey, and they were certified in LEAD, and they came out here and applied for a job as a sheriff's officer. And when they went through the interview, the interviewer said, "You're a LEAD instructor?" She goes, "Yes." He goes, "Okay, we need them. You're hired." So that actually is starting to be a trend where it's being in the classroom is a attribute for transfers, which is important. And I think, you know, we've been good. We've all LEAD is good. We've been very popular. We haven't had, knock wood, any negative conversations dealing with our organization. And I think that if we stay focused on making sure that you are evidence-based, you do what's right, and you serve, and that's the key. We won't hire someone. The first thing when we hire someone at LEAD, your job is to serve. Those people in the communities, the police departments, the school districts, we serve them, and we serve children. And that's our number one focus. We want to help kids be the best they can be, but we have to serve. The problem with many other groups and many other organizations and in a lot of businesses think that they have a product and they need to offer it and you have to like it. No, that's not true. You have choices. And we want you to make sure that if you're going to be involved with LEAD, we're going to serve you. And if we can't serve you, we're going to find out how to serve you. And you know, I had an agency the other day called me for our conference, which is coming up on June 27th. They were very upset. They're sending like 10 officers, and 2 of their officers lost the funding. One of the municipal groups was going to fund those 2 officers to come, and he had to cancel. And he goes, "I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to cancel those 2 and not and the other 8 can go." So obviously, I said, "Sir, we serve, okay? And you're already sending 8. Those 2 can come for free, because that's why we're here. That's why we're a 501c3 and not a for-profit agency, because the bottom line is we're here to serve the public. And if it means that, you know, I make a little less next year, so be it. That's what I'm supposed to be doing as the CEO of this company." Sorry for rambling.
That's great, Nick. Yeah. No. I think it's good, because I think it's important for I think it'd be important for our audience to hear that. I think one of the things that I'd like you to talk a little bit about is when you started LEAD, how it was a joint effort between because it started in New Jersey, between the New Jersey school superintendents and law enforcement. And I think that's really significant, because it makes a difference. Anyway, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, what happened was in New Jersey, there was other programs and other initiatives out in the state. But the school superintendent said, "Enough is enough. I'm tired. We are tired. Our school superintendents are tired of defending. We like the cop in the classroom. We like it. But we also, they're there for a reason. They're there to teach ATOD, drug and violence prevention. They're not there to just be a friend of the kids, right? That's part of it. The mentoring part of it is important. But we need to know that if we're expending hours in the classroom, that there's some evidence that shows that if the kids pay attention and they do their work, that they will learn something and they'll come out of it with some information and some learning processes. So the school superintendents in New Jersey, they boycotted other programs that weren't tested and proven effective. And that is why we grew from day one, from nothing to over 400 in the state of New Jersey right now. and with full support of the School Superintendents Association. But they actually went to the State Chiefs Association and educated them and educated the chiefs on why it's important. You know, why it's just, they can't take a police officer and walk into a classroom and talk about their feelings, or, you know, or so on and so forth. Why is it necessary to teach an evidence-based curriculum? And I'm talking about an evidence-based, I'm talking about randomized trial, and I'm talking about situations where we can at least show that we're making some behavioral changes. And like I said early onset with this, nothing's perfect, but something tested and proven effective is better than nothing tested and proven effective.
Thank you, Nick.
And the other thing is, of course, you monitor them, the officers, so that you're able to judge fidelity to the program. I just wanted to make another underscore that relationship, the connection with the superintendents of schools, because we prevention professionals often have real challenges in trying to convince principals of schools of how important these prevention interventions are, especially evidence-based programs, because there's a lot more, as you point out, that children learn from those interventions that serve them well in school, just in general. So I think that's really important for an important message to our prevention professionals.
I had an officer that was teaching another curriculum, and he called me up and he says, "I'm not doing yours. If I do yours, I have to follow it by the book because it's evidence-based. Mine's not evidence-based. I can do whatever I want and however I want." And I said, "And that's exactly why you should not be in the classroom." And he said, "Well, that's kind of blunt." I said, "Hey," I said, "don't ask me to talk to your chief because I'm the wrong guy." And he says, "God forbid your mayor and I ever have a conversation because you'll be the wrong guy." So I have no use. I have no use for people who think they're doing good, but in a way they could be harming somebody. And that's the truth.
Harming, right? Yeah.
It's a big truth. That's absolutely right. I wanted to highlight or underscore something that you said before that that really caught me, is that you said that you will find a way to serve the community. If this what we have does not work for you, we will find a way to serve you. And I think that's really good. I mean, in the whole sense of the term, because you're getting to know your communities and understanding what works for them, what they need, what works for them, and then trying to have your work done right. And I think that's where
a lot of state governments do environmental assessments and look at different regions of their state and try to decide what's best for them. Our program that we work with the Mendez Foundation, we're a universal program. So we fit all types of locations. However, there are over 22 curricula, and we offer the school superintendents to look at the curricula, and they tell us age appropriately. Do they want us in the 5th grade? Do they want us in the 9th grade? Do they want us in the 2nd grade? That's a decision that I don't think L.E.A.D should ever make. That's a decision that the school district and the community needs to make. And we are just here to make sure that they have what they need in an evidence-based way. That's why, and this is the truth, we're the only curriculum that is tested and proven effective K-12 out there. There are a lot of there's programs that are different grade levels and pieces of which, but that's what we like about our Mendez relationship, is because it touches upon all of the age groups, and it may not touch on every grade, but it was tested in those age groups, K-12. So that's why it's very important, and I think that we head in that direction. And I encourage all programs to get tested, proven effective. And it costs a lot of money, and I was with an organization many years ago that if they invested half the money they did on different things and not on, they'd be in a great situation right now, but they're not. So that's what is important. We have to put the money. And one of the things that our relationship with the Mendes Foundation does, we can spend money on other areas. We can do research. We're looking into a situation now with digital threat assessments for our officers that are not in the classroom, and looking at how digital threat assessments have an impact on prevention in your community, especially with social media today. So you have to change with the ties. What do they say? Goodrich Tire. They don't even make tires anymore, I believe, but they're still a major conglomerate. So, but we're in prevention, and we want to make we're proud of it, and it's a field that'll be here forever, long before all of us are around, hopefully.
It feels like in prevention we always need to be, or try to be, a step ahead and prevent and be prepared to.
You know what? One of the things that bothers me about prevention is people say, you can't prove it. It really bothers me, because yes, you can prove it. Mm. You really can. You know, if you
yes, indeed.
You know, if you really look at it the right way, you can. And you know, even in I'll give you a personal thing. I gained a few pounds in COVID, the old COVID 20, as people are calling it, and my blood sugar went high. Right. So in 2 weeks, I haven't had pasta, I haven't had bread, I haven't had desserts, and my blood sugar came down. That's only 2 weeks. I have to, unfortunately, live like that the rest of my life, but it's still, the point is, you can prevent things.
Absolutely. Nick, let's think back to 2015, when APSI was established to bring the universal prevention curriculum to attention of prevention professionals across the globe, and now that we are so focused on also bringing all prevention science knowledge and practice to the prevention community also around the world. When Zilli asked you to serve on APSI's board of directors, why did you say yes? We know you know each other 25, 30, or 20 years ago, but why did you say yes specifically to work with APSI in the board of directors?
Because I consider Zilli the #1 expert in prevention in the world. And if she asked me to work with her, I'd be honored. And how can I be honored not to work with her? But I also believe in what she's doing and what you're doing in trying to create, and I don't want to use this word, and please don't take it the wrong way, a mentality, an understanding, a way of life. And that's something that, you know, I can't do with L.E.A.D. L.E.A.D is a different animal. We are law enforcement focused prevention activity dealing with different types of programs and initiatives. But what Zilli and APSI is trying to do is trying to create a social norm, trying to make sure that societal change is happening, systemic changes around the world are happening. And that's something that I applaud all of you for doing, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, you're one of our cheerleaders, and we appreciate that. We want to thank you for taking the time to do this portrait. And I think it's really important, as I said earlier, for our prevention community to hear about the role that law enforcement does have a major role, and that there is a group that sees this importance of the interface between prevention, law enforcement, and to benefit the community. I think that's really important. So thank you so much, Nick, for giving us the time. I know you're busy, although you look very relaxed.
But I'm sweating to death. It's 95 here, and I have a fan blowing. I have a fan blowing on me.
Your fan going in this.
So that's about it.
Thank you so much. Anyway, and we'll be talking to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.